Good morning. And now, let's get in touch with Delmarva with host Norm Short.
Good morning. You're on In Touch with Delmarva. I'm Norm Short, and my guest this morning is the Executive Director of the Historic Odessa Foundation, Debbie Buckson. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Norm.
That little hidden jewel in Delaware, Odessa, got a lot going on right now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Odessa Foundation first, and then we'll go from there.
Well, the Historic Odessa Foundation is a 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization that owns and administers the historic houses of Odessa. We own 6 major properties, a half a dozen outbuildings, and about 72 acres located in the historic center of Odessa. Our buildings include the Corbett Sharp House, which is a National Historic Landmark and a National Park Network to Freedom site, the Wilson Warner House, the historic Odessa Bank, the Colin Sharp House, which dates to 1700, and the very popular Cantwell's Tavern.
Oh, the very popular Cantwell's Tavern, indeed. That's still active, right?
Oh, my gosh, is it ever? It's a happening place. It's really wonderful for the foundation because the proceeds from the restaurant help to preserve and protect the historic houses of Odessa. So we're very fortunate to have that income coming into the foundation because, it costs a lot of money to keep these wonderful old historic buildings in good shape and really preserved for future generations. It's so important, Norm, for us to protect these things for our children and our grandchildren. And the older I get, the more that becomes pertinent to me.
Oh, yes. I tend to appreciate the history of the thing a whole lot more now as I've gotten older. And no, seriously, and you ride into historic Odessa, and it takes you back in time. Tell us what time it's taking us back to.
Well, it takes you back to the colonial period, really the 18th century. It was a port town. It was established very early, certainly by 1730, and it was a major shipping port for the region. It's the shortest distance over land between the Delaware River and the Chesapeake Bay. So it was an Indian trade route before it became an English shipping port. But in the 18th century, they shipped 400,000 bushels of wheat out of the little town of Odessa. Thus, the wonderful architecture that we have in town. Some of the most important architectural buildings in the state of Delaware are located in Odessa.
And the nice part is you can just drive in, park on, it's still a cobblestone street. Is that what it's called?
No, it's not a cobblestone. We do have some cobblestone area, but
right.
It's a paved street. But the streetscape looks exactly as it did in the 18th century, a wide, broad streetscape. And you can just imagine drays and oxen and big wagons carrying all kinds of goods to market to be shipped, up to Philadelphia and really even to the islands and to Europe. Odessa's wheat was well known as making into a fine pastry flour and was known even in Europe.
Oh, is that right? As far as Europe, little Odessa?
Little old Odessa. Actually, the name of the town at that time was Cantwell's Bridge. The townspeople changed the name to Odessa in the mid-19th century, in the 1850s. The town had been bypassed by the railroad. It was cheaper and easier to ship by rail. And so the town fathers realized that their shipping trade was going to begin slipping away. This was at the time of the Crimean War, and the great Ukrainian wheat shipping port of Odessa was in the papers. So they decided to change the town's name, hoping to borrow some of the prosperity, but it didn't work out that way. Fortunately for us, because it's one of the reasons that everything remained so pristine in Odessa. It's one of the most pristine colonial townscapes in the state of Delaware. It's amazing.
Well, it is amazing. And when you think about the fact that the train bypassed them, it preserved the town then.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. And so fortunate. I'm sure it wasn't, they didn't feel that way at the time, but today we're most fortunate that decision was made.
Yes, I would say so. And you've kept it beautiful. So for somebody who's local that's just looking for something fun to do and just walk around and experience some history. How much of Odessa is accessible by a walking tour?
Well, the entire town. People are certainly welcome to walk around town. And there's no better time to do it than at Christmas time. The entire town gets into the spirit of the season. The private homeowners have the houses decorated beautifully. If you're looking for ideas to decorate your own home, a new wreath idea for your front door, Odessa's the place to come. There's just so much creativity. We've got beautiful wreaths on doors and windows and gates all over town, swags on every light post. And they're beautifully done. I mean, it's just as wonderful as Williamsburg. Of course, I'm going to tell you it's better.
Be disappointed if you didn't.
But if you're looking for ideas at Christmas, Odessa is definitely the place to come.
If you just joined us, this is In Touch with Delmarva. I'm Norm Short. My guest is Debbie Buckson. She's the Executive Director for the Historic Odessa Foundation. Debbie, you've got seasonal, 175th anniversary of Charles Dickens. Tell us a little bit about all the things going on for the public.
Well, we do, and we're very excited about it. This is our, 30 years of recreating a story in one of our houses at Christmas time. Our families were Quaker and didn't celebrate Christmas, so each year we make a complete departure from our interpretation of the people that lived in these houses, and it is our salute to literacy and encouraging reading in all audiences, but most importantly with children. We work with our local library. We select a book every year, and every year we recreate it. This year we're doing The Christmas Carol, which was first published in 1843, celebrating its 175th anniversary. And something that a lot of people don't realize about The Christmas Carol is that its proper name is A Christmas Carol in Prose, being a ghost story of Christmas. That's the full title of the book. But we all know it as that wonderful tale of Ebenezer Scrooge. And we have vignettes in the building that represent each of the different visits from the ghosts of Christmas past, future, and present. It's just delightful. Ebenezer Scrooge's counting room, of course, the home of Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim. It's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tour. I think it's the best we've ever done. And in our Wilson Warner house, we also have storybook trees. We invite the public to decorate trees every year. We provide the tree and the lights, and families, organizations, school groups are invited to select a story and recreate that story on their very own Christmas tree. So we have probably 20 or so, 30 Christmas trees on exhibit in the Wilson Warner House, and they're delightful. Everyone from the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution, to our local kindergartens and our local nursery schools. They're just so much fun. Everybody loves them. They're delightful. And in our Colin Sharp house, every Saturday we do open hearth cooking, and we celebrate festive foods of the season. We have been long researching the culinary history of the Delmarva, and so we have costumed interpreters in the Collins house that are recreating wonderful 18th century foods. We invite visitors to watch how these are prepared and even take a recipe home with them to try at their own home in their own Christmas traditions.
And there's no shortage of things to do. Well, give us a website and maybe a contact detail so people can look up more information and find out about the candlelight tours, too. They don't want to miss those.
Oh, no. The candlelight tours are every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the month of December. They're delightful. We have a curator candlelight tour later in the month, and all of these things can be located on our website at historicodessa.org, or you can call our public information number, 302-378-4119. The Historic Odessa Foundation is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 4:30. Our last full complete tour is at 3 o'clock, and on Sunday from 1 until 4:30, again with the full complete tour at 3 o'clock. If you come after 3, you can usually get one building in. Our entire tour takes about an hour and a half. We're closed Mondays. We're closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
I would say you're pretty well covered. If they haven't gotten it in by then, it's time for them to do their own holiday. But
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But we're very busy during Christmas week too, the week between Christmas and New Year's. So it's delightful. It's fun. Make a day of it. Come, take the tour, walk around town, get inspired, sit by the fire in Cantwell's Tavern. There's 6 fireplaces in Cantwell's, and they're all burning every day. So if you're looking for ambiance, a nice meal, and a beautiful day out with your family, come to Odessa.
You're absolutely right. It's a beautiful town, and the Cantwell Tavern, well, that's a trip unto itself. So it's all time well spent. Debbie, I want to thank you for being here this morning, and give us that website one more time.
The website is historicodessa.org, and thank you, Norm, for having us.
Certainly my pleasure. You know how much Odessa means to me, and it's in my heart. It's a great town. So
yes, it is.
Debbie, you have a great day and have a great holiday.
You too.
Thank
you so much.
Take care and enjoy your holiday indeed.
Will do.
Bye-bye.
Will do. Thank you.
I'm Norm Short. This is In Touch with Delmarva, and we'll be right back.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree for me.